Pay on death versus joint account. Which one actually avoids probate? If your goal is to avoid probate, you've probably heard of two very common options when it comes to bank accounts. One is adding someone as a joint owner. The other is naming a beneficiary, often called a payable on death beneficiary or POD designation. Now, on the surface, they may seem very similar. Both can allow money to pass without going through probate. So people assume it doesn't really matter which one they choose. But the reality is these two options are very different. And choosing the wrong one can create problems that you did not intend. I'm Attorney Otto, a Florida estate planning attorney, and I want to walk you through the difference between joint accounts and pay on death beneficiary designations and which one actually makes more sense depending on your goals. Let's start with joint accounts. Now, when you add someone as a joint owner on your bank account, you're making them a legal owner of that account right now, not later, now. That means they have access, they have control, and legally that money belongs to both of you, even if you put all the money in that account. Now, let's compare that to a pay on death designation. A payable on death designation allows you to name someone who will receive the money in the account, but only after you pass away. During your lifetime, they have no access, they have no control, and they have no ownership. You maintain full control of that account. So right away, we can see a key difference. A joint account transfers ownership during your lifetime. A POD designation transfers the money after your death. Now, let's talk about how both of these affect probate, because this is usually the reason people are choosing between them. Both joint accounts and POD designations can avoid probate. That part is definitely true. But avoiding probate is not the only factor you should be considering. Now, let's look at the risks. First, with joint accounts, because the other person is a legal owner, their financial situation can affect that account. If they, for example, get sued, if they have creditors, if they go through a divorce, that account may be exposed. Again, even if the money came entirely from you. The next issue is control. A joint owner typically has the ability to withdraw money from that account. Now again, most people trust the person they're adding, but legally that authority exists. And now let's talk about what happens after you pass away. With a joint account, the surviving owner usually becomes the sole owner of the account. That means the money goes directly to them, regardless of what you put in your will. And this is where problems can arise, especially in families with multiple children. Let's say that you have 3 children, you add 1 child to your account, you pass away, that account goes to that 1 child. Not because you intended to give everything to that 1 child, but because that's how the account is structured. Your will, and hear me when I say this, your will does not override that. And I say this with emphasis because many of my clients will say, yeah, I know that I only added 1 of my children to the bank account, but let's put in my will that whatever I leave after I die should go to all of them. It does not work that way. If you've added 1 child as your joint account owner, everything goes to them and it overrides your will. Now let's compare that to a pay on death designation. With a POD, you can name 1 or more beneficiaries. When you do pass away, the bank releases the funds directly to the person or people that you have named. You can even divide it on the record. You can say 50% to this child, 50% to this child or cousin or whoever. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, whatever matches your intentions. And during your lifetime, you maintain full control. Now, does that mean POD is always the better option? Not necessarily. It really depends on your goals. If your goal is, well, I want someone to help me manage my finances right now while I'm alive, then a joint account might seem like a good solution. But even then, I would recommend considering a power of attorney. That may be a safer option because it allows help without transferring ownership. If your goal is, I want the money to go to someone after I pass away, then a POD designation is often the cleaner option. And here's why. Because it avoids probate without creating the risks that come with joint ownership. Now let's talk about one more important concept: coordination. One of the biggest mistakes I see is when people set up their accounts one way and their legal documents say something else. So, example being, your will says everything should be divided equally, but your bank account has one joint owner or one beneficiary. This creates a mismatch, and when that happens, the account usually controls, not the will. So now you have a situation where the documents say one thing, the account says another, and the outcome may not match what you intended. The key takeaway here is this: joint accounts and POD designations can both avoid probate, but they are not interchangeable. A joint account gives someone ownership now. A POD designation gives someone access later. And that difference really matters. So before you decide how to structure your accounts, you want to be clear on your goal. Is it help during your lifetime or transfer after your death? Because the right tool depends on the answer to that question. And if your goal is to keep things simple for your family, making sure your accounts are set up correctly is one of the most important steps that you can take. I'm Attorney Otto. Plan wisely, live confidently, and I'll see you next time.